So using this backup image, not only just use it for the restoring the databases, and you can also use all this backup images which Actifio is capturing from your production database to perform standard mount and use the standard mount copy for restore and recover your corrupted table spaces or maybe data files, and also use your backup image using Actifio for for repairing your corrupted blocks, or maybe if you have any control file loss, and you can use to recover those control files, and also you can use for your arm and duplicate target. And coming to the restore table space, as we discussed earlier, so we have a standard mount and app aware mount. On part of standard mount, using this backup image, if you are selecting a standard mount, Actifio standard mount, it is going to present all the required backup copies onto the target host. As you can see on the diagram, and the Actifio's capture process is actually maintaining the backup image of your source production database on Actifio appliance. And using this GUI, you can select this backup image and present onto the target host. And in this process, we are not going to, Actifio is not going to bring up the application or bring up the database up and running. And it is going to present all the backup image copies onto the target host, right? So this is very simple. Select your backup image and restore back to the target host, and you will have all the backup images in your place. Okay, so you select the application, whichever the want you wanted to create a standard mount, and you select the backup image and just create a mount. And this is a standard mount. You have to select on which target host you wanted to present this backup image. And optionally, you can give a mount point. If you're not specifying the mount point, Actifio is going to create a default mount point, which a naming convention /act/mnt/job_job number something. So you can able to find all the backup copies, like including data file backup copies, including archive backup copies, control file and parameter file, everything, all the backup images under this mount point. Once the job has been succeeded, you can able to see your desired target mount point onto the target host. So under the target host, you can able to see all the backup copies, archive backup copies, data file copies, and parameter file backup copy and control file. So all these RTCAPs which are required to perform a cloning, you can able to find all these right on the standard mount. So once you have the standard mount copies, which means all the backup copies in a mount point, and you can use this mount point, or you can use all these backup copies under this mount point by cataloging these backup copies. You can able to recover, restore your table spaces. You can able to restore and recover your corrupted data files, and you can recover your corrupted or blocks, and also you can use to restore your lost control file back to the database. And just to see about how to restore a table space, as we explained earlier in the previous slide, the moment you perform a standard mount, you will get all the backup copies under that standard mount, right? Data file copies, archive copies, server parameter file or a parameter file copy, and control file copies. So all you need to do is actually you have to catalog all those backup copies like this. Catalog start with act stdmnt test, which is your mount point. Under that you have a data file backup copies and another cataloging with archive backup copies, and it is which is very much a traditional restore table space and recover table space, how we are going to do using a traditional backup copies on your disk. And exactly you can do the same steps, and you can able to restore and recover your lost table spaces back to the database. In the similar way, like how you are restoring your table spaces, in the similar way you can use the same standard mount image to restore and recover your corrupted data files. And of course you need to catalog the data file and catalog the archive backup copies, and you have to restore and recover your corrupted data file and make the data file online. So this is all about restoring the table spaces and restoring the data files using the standard mount image. And coming to, if you have a database block corruptions, right? Again, same thing, like, so you can able to find out your black corruptions using VDOT or database block corruptions, and you perform a standard mount and catalog the copies, and you can able to type an rman command recover corruption list. And once after the blocks are recovered, and you can able, and generally I think Oracle database, it's going to remove the from the data dictionary view, which is VDOT or database block corruption. And if you want to repair our individual corrupted blocks, and if you want to recover the individual corrupted blocks, still you can just catalog the data file backup copies And using the RMAN, you can just recover the data file number and the block number, corresponding block number. And using the standard image, so not only restoring, recovering your table spaces and data files in the similar way, how if you have a normal backup, traditional backup image on your disk, and how you are going to utilize that backup image on your disk to perform this restore data file, table spaces, and recovering database block operations. In the similar way, you use this standard mount. And lastly, you can able to recover and using this standard mount image, which you have performed using ActiveView image, and you can able to recover your last control files. I think here are the steps. And if you have a standalone database, and if you have a rack database, how to restore your control file back from the backup image, and how to recover until this cancel and open the database with reset locks. And you feel exactly how we are using with a disk backup, and how do you keep your disk backup copies, and how you are going to catalog it, and how you are going to utilize further to recovering the control files or the data files or table spaces or maybe a lost or corrupted blocks. The similar way you can use all these 4 operations using the Oracle's ActiveView standard mount copy. And finally, I think you can also perform using this RMAN duplicate target. You can also perform a clone using this RMAN duplicate facility, right? So if you want to, say for example, here is the scenario. So you have an ActiveView standard mount copy, but this time I wanted to use this ActiveView's backup copy, and using a RMAN duplicate option, I wanted to restore this on a separate database server, right? So whenever you perform a standard mount, or whenever you perform an app-aware mount, and remember that you are using ActiveView storage, which is an ActiveView appliance. So that's the reason we are calling, and these databases are virtualized databases we are presenting. We are not physically copying the data from ActiveView appliance to your target host. And we are maintaining references, but you feel like these are your physical copies. So that's why we are completing very quickly, and we are presenting this app-aware mount copies, irrespective of your source database size, irrespective of your source backup size. And we are going to present this app-aware mount copies within less than 15 minutes or 20 minutes, irrespective of your size of your source database. But here is the scenario, and you have an ActiveView standard mount copy, and using that ActiveView standard mount backup copy, and you wanted to create a database on your storage, and still you can use that as a backup copy on your disk, and you can perform your, using your RMAN duplicate target database cloning, you can able to perform the cloning. So make sure that, I think, the pretty much traditional settings, like you have to maintain a couple parameters like DB name, unique name, and DB file name convert, log file name convert, and these 2 parameters you have to maintain as per your local destination storage. And then you have to connect to the RMAN and run a duplicate database command, and using your backup location, say presume that your backup location is ActiveView standard mount backup location, so you can able to perform this duplicate target. So far I think hope you understand about, like, you can use ActiveView standard mount and use the standard mount backup copies, and you can able to perform the restoring table spaces and the restoring data files, and recovering the corrupted blocks, and recovering the lost of control files, and also perform cloning activity using RMAN duplicate target. And hope you understand, like right now I think we are using on top of ActiveView standard mount copy, all these are actually command line method, traditional methods which we are using. But we are glad to announce that ActiveView is actively working on providing all these capabilities using ActiveView's desktop. And shortly, I think ActiveView is going to come up with, like, we are providing all these restore operations like table space, data file, or RMAN duplicate target operation, and corrupted database blocks, and the restore and recover your lost control files. And we are going to give you a complete GUI offer in shortly. So you experience all these facilities you are going to receive from ActiveView using a GUI mode. You don't need to worry about typing the larger commands, or maybe going through the normal, regular, traditional command line steps, and simply you can orchestrate everything through ActiveView GUI. And this is all about restoring, the restore part, which you are going to get what ActiveView is offering on top of your ActiveView standard mount.
Thank you for joining us for another YouTube Tech Tip video. If you like the content you're seeing on this channel, please remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you will be alerted to any future content.